Las Vegas played host for UFC 320 Saturday night, and what a night it was at the T-Mobile Arena. In the bantamweight co-main event, the machine Magomed Dvalishvili looked every bit the dominant champ, shutting out Corey Sandhagen over 5 rounds. And in the main event, the light heavyweight belt once again changed hands as former champion Alex Pereira made quick work of Magomed Ankalaev to regain his championship belt. Welcome to Fight Week and your official review of UFC 320. I'm Adam Catterall. It is a pleasure to be in your company and the company of these two. Look at these smiling faces. You can tell we've had a good night at the UFC when these two are all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Nick Peet's in the house, as is the Hall of Famer, Mr. Michael Bisping. Mike, have you come down yet, mate? Because I tell you what, woo-hoo-hoo, have we got some stuff to talk about on this show today, son?
Yeah, what an event. So much so, there was a little bit of screaming going on in my house, so the voice is a little bit raspy, a little bit under the weather. Been travelling all over the world. I'm off to Brazil on Tuesday, but oh my word, what a fight night, what an event. And Alex Pereira, I mean, yeah, I guess he was at 40% in his last fight, which I kind of scoffed at. I didn't like, but maybe he was only at 40% last time out because that was ridiculous.
I know, mate. Gut main event gone in less than 90 seconds. Merab doing Merab. We've got Yuri to talk about. Nick, we've got some fantastic efforts as well that you both pointed out on those prelims with Atiba doing his thing, mate. A really, really big night for the UFC in Las Vegas.
Sensational. You know, any card with 8 finishes on is definitely one worth going back and looking for and keeping hold of. And back in my day, I used to snap the tap of the old VHS tape and keep that one forever. 320 felt like one of those events that you will always go back and look at. If you're into MMA, if you're into the UFC, 320 delivered in spades in every department. It was a brilliant show.
Mate, you've just alienated, right, the whole younger demographic of our audience. What's a VHS, Dad? What's a tape? What are these men talking about? Listen, it was a historical night. Never before, as a champion, lost his championship belt via decision and regained it in an immediate rematch. Well, it's happened now, and Alex Pereira is that man to take that mantle. Mr. Bisping, take it away because... what a performance. There's a way to win a title, and that's probably the best way of going about it.
Yeah, so Pereira was talking like somebody that was kind of annoyed, who was mad, who was embarrassed, and that's exactly how he fought, like he had something to prove, because as soon as the fight started, he sprints across the octagon, throws a 1-2 and puts it on him immediately. Now, Ankalaev kind of gets through that immediate few seconds, but Pereira was right there in front of him, staying in his face, staying threatening, throws a big, massive looping overhand right, connects flush on the chin. Magomed wasn't dropped, but he was definitely hurt. Shoots for the legs, of course. He's kind of hurt. He's rocked already. Not going to get a good shot in that condition. Pereira forces him down. And that was it. From there, we just saw him getting butchered with 12 to 6 elbows to the face, to the body, one after the other until the referee steps in. Gone in 80 seconds. Unbelievable. What a performance. The whole world loses its mind. We get multiple shammers in a row. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy.
It's what can only be described, Nick, as a massacre.
It really was. Completely and utterly one-sided, one-way traffic. Exactly what Alex Pereira told us all last week. This was going to happen. I was at 40% in the first fight. Wait and see what happens this time around. And he's proved it. You know, there's no other way to look back on that first Ankalaev performance, that he got him on his worst night and still had to drag it over the distance. Everything that Pereira said has rung true. Did he get lucky that first time around? There's only one way to suggest yes, Ankalaev did get lucky. But on Saturday night, he didn't get lucky because he got not only Alex Pereira at his formidable best, but a motivated Alex Pereira who was looking to make a statement. Shammer, what a statement. Best fighter on the planet. Hard to argue otherwise.
Right. What comes next? Okay. Now, listen, there's options here because he could stay in this weight division. You've got Carl Sulberg, who was brilliant against Dom Reyes. We're going to talk Yuri a little later on in the show. Can we justify part 3 after what Yuri did on Saturday night? Or, Nick, do we dare to be great? Do we go for the heavyweight division?
You've got to look at the body of work he's done in the last 4 years and the manner of those victories. So many knockouts, 3-time UFC champion now. And when you go back at looking at the greatest of all time, go and look at GSP's record, Anderson's record, even John Jones, circa 2011, 2012, when he won on an incredible run of performances, of finishes. It's comparable to any of those in regards to getting people out of there and getting them out of there in the most explosive and entertaining fashion. What he requires, what he's missing, is the longevity. And at 38 years of age, he hasn't got the years left to have the longevity to be dominant over a long period of time. So what he's got to do is do something that GSP, Anderson Silva, John Jones, BJ Penn, all the greats never managed to do. And that's become a 3-weight UFC champion. For me, he's got nothing left to prove at 205. Absolutely, he should go up to heavyweight. He should face the winner of Aspinall versus Gane and give us something absolutely sensational to look forward to at the start of 2026.
I think at 38 years old, he does have the time to go to heavyweight because, as we know, those guys do have a longer career. So I think when you've got Carlos Ulberg there, who's on an 8 or 9 fight win streak, who's knocking people out the way that he has, I would like to see that. A guy that's as big as him, that's as tall as him, that on paper has the kickboxing credentials to be able to challenge him. That'd be a fun fight to see. I mean, let's be honest, Carlos Ulberg deserves it. Yuri Prochazka, we love Yuri, right? There's not a man alive that watches this sport that isn't obsessed with Yuri Prochazka, and I would love to see him get a third matchup. And we're going to talk about his fight with Khalil in a little bit. But after what I saw versus Khalil, I don't want to throw him in against Pereira just now. He's fought him twice. It's hard to get a third fight against the guy. We did see a lot of openings. We did see a lot of typical Yuri madness, but I don't think it would have got to the third round or the closing minutes of the fight with Alex Pereira, so let Yuri do his full crazy stuff. I think the next fight is Carlos Ulberg, and then, by all means, let the man go up to heavyweight. He said that he wanted John Jones. He did a little interview last night after the fight. He said he doesn't want the winner of Cyril Gane and Aspinall. He wants John Jones at the White House. That's what he said last night.
Well, fine. He can want all he wants. Listen. Let's dare to be great, man. I mean, the White House show isn't until the middle of the year, is there? You've got another 6 months. This guy is an active fighter. What do you think of this, Mike? Let me throw this your way. Obviously, we've got those 2 contenders that you just mentioned there, Ulberg and Yuri, in the light heavyweight division. What if Alex went up, had a go, and even if he wasn't successful, could he go back down to fight the winner of Yuri versus Ulberg?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at Anderson Silva, who we were just talking about, he was a guy that was running through all the middleweight contenders. So to keep him fun, to keep him active and to test the waters and do something fresh and exciting, they gave him 2 fights at light heavyweight that weren't title fights. Went up against Forrest Griffin. We all remember that one. Poor old Forrest was kind of embarrassed in that one while still being the middleweight champion, and then came back down. So I'm not against that either. Let him go up to heavyweight. Let him have a non-title fight against a decent opponent at heavyweight to see how it translates and to give the fans something that they're engaged in, something that's really interesting, and he can still be the light heavyweight champion as well. I'm not against that at all.
It's got to be Jones or Aspinall for me. It's got to be Jones or Aspinall or Gane. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point of going up there and getting beat by a top 10 heavyweight? Nah, man, this is Shamma. This is the main guy. He's the biggest draw in the sport today. And if he wants to fight for the heavyweight title, he should be able to. And if he can get John Jones out of retirement to have this fight at the White House, whatever it was, because there's a lot on that fight. I'll tell you what's on that fight. GOAT. Because if he beats John Jones, not only does he beat the greatest of all time, but he's the first ever... he's done it across 3 weight divisions, which unlocks the fight against the winner of Aspinall versus Gane anyway. So I'm not against either. But to think he's going to fight anybody else in the heavyweight division is utter madness. No chance.
Yeah, no, if there is going to be a heavyweight fight, because by the way, it was Adam that suggested that, Nick. It was Adam, not me. I was like, my words were, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I didn't say I'm petitioning for it. If there is a fight, it should be.
My idea was this: that he goes for the heavyweight championship. He fights the winner of Aspinall Gane. If he's unsuccessful, he could go back down. If he is successful, as Nick's just pointed out, that then opens the middle of the year to fight John Jones, and that is a legitimate GOAT status fight. Whoever wins that is the goal. Simple as.
Mate, I've got no issue with anything that you're saying. The only issue in that is that Dana White has came out quite clearly and said that John Jones himself will not be on the White House card.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only wrinkle in the ointment there.
Yeah.
But from a Alex Pereira point of view,
he can do what he likes.
He can
do what he likes in this sport right now. And listen, as good as Carlos Ulberg was, as good as Yuri was, again, we're going to come on to that in a second. This guy is the kingmaker. He gets now to decide what he wants to do. The run of form he's in right now, coming back from the defeats and bouncing back and winning titles and putting that Ankalaev flat performance behind him and just spectacularly, absolutely ironing him out with one big right hand and embarrassed, let's be honest, embarrassed Ankalaev. Yeah. He looked pathetic on the floor. Couldn't do anything. Just had to turtle up and just take what was coming down on him. That was a statement on Saturday night. This guy is the most lethal man in the sport today. I want to see him fight the winner of Aspinall versus Gan. The sport needs it. The heavyweight division needs it. And you know what? Chama, Potan, he deserves it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said. And it's also worth pointing out that he did say there wasn't going to be a rubber match. No. There isn't going to be a rubber match between Magomed, and there just isn't. You can't justify that.
No.
He went out there and just dismissed him like it was like you would like a little 4-year-old son. Just went out, you know, someone who's being naughty, give him a little spank, give him a little embarrassment, right? Go, but to your room now. You know, he just grounded Magomed Ankalaev. He ain't leaving his room anytime soon. He give him a good little spanking, sent him to his room like a naughty little boy, and he's moving on to bigger challenges. Yeah, the man can do whatever he wants.
Oh, heck of a main event. Heck of a performance from Alex Pereira. The world is his oyster, as the boys have said, and looking forward to seeing what that then provides us in 2026. It might not be end of year yet for Merab Dvalishvili in the co-main event. Never before has a UFC champion defended their belt on 4 occasions in the same calendar year. He's done 3, and we've got months left, Mike. Come on, baby. Let's roll the dice and get him back out before the end of December.
Yeah, well, let's talk about his fight against Corey Sandhagen first before we're talking about what's next. Remember, we are in October, so it is a quick turnaround, but I'm sure Piotr Jan, who we kind of called out on the microphone afterwards, I'm sure he'd be up for that and stick him on a fight night in Las Vegas, the final pay-per-view of the year in the ESPN era. That's not a bad shout. However, that was a great fight, and Corey Sandhagen showed up in the first round. He clearly won the first round via 10-9. Outstruck him, looked deadly, and this is what I thought we'd see more of from Corey Sandhagen. He stuffed the takedowns. He picked some good shots. He maintained range and was able to separate anytime Merab got in there. But of course, title fights or a 5-round affair. And that was just the first round. And Merab was not deterred one little bit. In the second round, closes the distance, starts to get takedowns, starts to land shots. At the end of the second round, when Corey was too busy defending a takedown, Merab just unloads with a massive combination, almost finishes him, almost sits him down. You know, Corey was lucky to get out of that second round. And then from there, Merab just got more and more dominant. Yes, Corey had moments. Corey didn't give up on himself. He should be proud of that. He still, even in the 5th round, he was starting to land some good shots. He was still composed. He was still very much in the fight. But Merab only needed 3 takedowns to get to 100 takedowns in his UFC career. Well, he got 20. So now he's got 117 takedowns. He landed 10 takedowns in 5 UFC fights, which is another record. He landed a ridiculous amount of shots. The pressure, the pace, the cardio was non-stop, as always. It was the typical Merab Dvalishvili performance, and he should be very, very proud of himself.
I don't know where you're at, Nick. I actually think technically he's getting better. As the more we watch him, the hands are coming now together. That second round, as Mike was pointing out, the combinations were solid. He's getting better, which is frightening for everybody in this division.
It is, because he's becoming more fully rounded. And when you think back at the fight, of course, you remember the first round, as Mike just pointed out, Sandhagen's best round was the first round. But other than that, a little skirmish, you know, towards the end of round 3, had a little 40 seconds where he caught Merab, and then right on the bell, 10 seconds to go in round 5, he landed one big shot. Other than that, Merab won the stand-up as well. Merab outboxed him, certainly in round number 2. He beat the living daylights out of Corey Sandhagen, and it was testament to Corey's will and desire that he was able to survive that second round, but also continue through 3, 4, and 5. But he just kept on going, wouldn't give up. That showed what kind of a challenger he was. But we're in a period of greatness right now. And not to get carried away as well with giving Pereira that title at the top of the bill. But Merab's a very special fighter, very special. This cardio, this gas tank, we talk about it relentlessly, just like he grinds relentlessly. It's so impressive. The array of takedowns he's got, the suplexes, the trips, everything. At one point there was a double flying leg, like sliding tackle through the back, and then he just pulled Corey Sandhagen over. It's just absolutely phenomenal to see him in action, to go full pelt the way he does. No one beats him. Nobody beats this guy. Over 3 rounds, maybe, but nobody beats me. Nobody on this planet right now beats Merab over 5 rounds. Absolutely no chance.
And the thing is as well, is that it's translating into star power. People love Merab Dvalishvili. They love the character. They love the authenticity, the performances, of course. And this is someone that does have a wrestle first kind of style and shows that he can do it in an entertaining fashion because he's always trying to finish people. As soon as he gets on top, he's trying to do damage. He's trying to rip your head off. He's not trying to hold you down for 24 minutes of control time. We know what we're talking about there, right? A lot of people were booing there. They loved that performance. And all of this, by the way, is translating into pay-per-view sales. From what I understand with my discussions with the UFC, there's a real noticeable bump when Merab Dvalishvili is on a card. People love this guy, and rightly so.
Well, there you go. He'll be on in December then, won't he? So we're going to get that 4th defence. Will it be Pyotr? I know he's fought him before, but you kind of look around the other contenders. We're now in that stage of starting to lap the division. Piotr's put, is it 3 together?
3.
All decent top contenders, Nick. You would probably say that that's the next fight for Merab, wouldn't you?
That's the one that makes most sense. But we're getting to a point now where do we tag team these guys? Do we tag team these bantamweights and put 2 in and do Shark Tank it like a fresh one every round against Merab just to test him, just to see how good that gas tank actually is? That's how formidable he's looking at the moment. I thought Corey Sandhagen come away and you go, what more could Corey have done?
Yeah,
he turned up, he gave it everything he's got, but he's peaked in his career like so many other of these bantamweights in an era where Merab is absolutely peaking ahead of them. And as you pointed out, he's getting better. Since he's moved over to John Wood and over to Las Vegas, his hands are definitely improving. And once them finishes start coming, they will not stop.
So Alex Pereira, the man can get whatever he wants. Here's a little version at 135 that's, doing big things. All right, granted, the finishes aren't quite the same. But he is starting to lap the division. Give the man his fight in December. Let him do that. Let him set a record for 4 title defenses. And then in the meantime, let someone else from another division have another fight. And then next year, Alexander Volkanovski, Merab Dvalishvili at 145 pounds. Because he's lapping the division. Let him be a part of something historic, a super fight, a 2-weight division champion. If he doesn't deserve that, who does?
So that's how you come in and main event shakedown for UFC 320. Are you ready? I don't think we've come down yet from this fight. We predicted that it would be fight of the night. We did predict that it may be fight of the year. There's going to be some awards coming its way, no doubt, when we get stuck into all that in December. A phenomenal 15 minutes between Yuri Prochazka and Khalil Roundtree. Chaos everywhere, Mike. It was truly sensational.
First of all, Yuri Prochazka might just be my favourite fighter on all of the roster. He's so enigmatic. He's so original. He's a unique character. He's just true to himself. His style, which is absolutely bonkers, he doesn't care. Okay, it's Yuri Prochazka. He just goes mental. He just goes nuts. I was saying last night to Callum, he looked like a fighter like on the old school version of Tekken that are kind of glitching. And then on the flip side, we've got to give Khalil his credit because Khalil looked slick. He looked very, very highly trained and technical. He was ripping the combinations, kicking the legs. He looked devastatingly fast with the hands. But on the flip side, Yuri just wasn't overly concerned. He's like, must do better, And then that was the whole fight until the 3rd round. And then in the 3rd round, he clearly realises, hold on a minute, I'm going to lose this fight here. So I've got to go for it. And that's exactly what he does. He just like, okay, it's time to button mash, push every single button, just go mental, go forward, swing with reckless abandon, boom, boom, spinning back elbow, let's do one of those, let's throw a head kick, boom, 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 boom. Right? We're going to talk about the cardio because that was about 4 minutes of non-stop attacks. And it's not like they were little pitter-patter shots. He was trying to knock him out with every single one. Fair play to Khalil as well, because he stayed in there and he made it exciting. He fired back. He cracked him with an elbow. They both exchanged elbows. Khalil hit him, and then he was like, hold on a minute, have one back. It was mental. Then up against the fence, it was a 1-2 left hook, and Khalil falls face down on the canvas, and it's over. But I tell you what, in our house, we were screaming our heads off. We couldn't believe it. We had a couple of people over. Yeah, unreal.
For all the things that we said about Alex Pereira at the start of the show, you could probably say the same things about Yuri Prochazka. He's only been here for a minute. He's only had a handful of fights, and he spent half of his time out, didn't he, with that major shoulder injury, being a champion. And every single time he turns up, the bonus stats that are connected to his fights are absolutely ridiculous. As Mike said, he's must-watch TV.
Yeah. He's 6-2 now in the UFC with 8 bonuses. So he's basically
every fight done.
Yeah, he got 2 on Saturday night, which took him to 8 bonuses. But you can understand why, because he's made for TV. If you're not a huge fan of Yuri Prochazka, you're doing MMA wrong. You're doing this sport wrong, because that crazy, violent chaos is what you should be tuning in for. Those are the holy crap moments that Dana and the UFC are trying to find. Yuri delivers them every single time. And yes, we've seen him beaten. We've seen him flatlined. We've seen him lose his belt. We've seen that in the past because he fights with reckless abandon. But in moments like Saturday night, when he's 10 minutes down, two rounds down on the scorecards, he's got to pull something out the bag, to suddenly just start flying forward, throwing flying knees for no reason whatsoever but to close the distance, to be able to land elbows, and then taking an elbow and then giving one back, and then taking 2 right hands to give 2 back. It was just complete and utter chaos. But that's what he wants. That's where he lives. That's where he thrives. And when he has blood in his nostrils, he's as dangerous as any man in this sport.
Or just jumping vertically straight up in the air, thinking about throwing a flying knee, then obviously gets like 3 foot off the ground and go, no, not going to throw it. And then after winning the fight, finishing it in style, doing his interview, then shows up for the main event, looking like Ryu from Street Fighter 2. You know what I mean? Looking like a bloody video game character. Cries when Pereira gets the victory because he's so proud of his samurai brother. You know, it's like, this man is straight out of a movie. I'm telling you, I love this guy.
Crazy.
Absolutely. And listen, you both already said it, but just a little extra for Khalil, because he was brilliant. He was absolutely fantastic. It takes 2 to tango, and they absolutely dished it. In fact, just rebook it. Do it again. Let's go see another 15 minutes of that mayhem, because it was absolutely fantastic. In all seriousness, if what we said at the start of the show plays out and Alex Pereira goes up, then Yuri versus Carlos Ulberg for the light heavyweight title. I don't think anybody's going to mourn at that, are they?
At all. No chance.
There we go. All right. So,
Mega.
Well done to both of those guys. We said on the preview show that it was going to be fight of the night, and it absolutely was. There'll be awards connected to that fight come the end of the year, no doubt. We also said this could be a coming out party for Youssef Zalal, Mike, and it absolutely was. What a statement victory over Josh Emmett.
Yeah, just by far his biggest win of his career, and the way that he did it against Josh Emmett, who is a very, very dangerous man. Of course, highly ranked in the featherweight division, been in there with some of the greatest, been in there with Ilia Topuria that beat him via decision. Youssef Zalal, let me just look at the time. 1 minute, 38 seconds, shoots a takedown, gets it with ease, and then locks up an old school armbar from the guard. And the reason I say old school is because these days we don't see too many armbars like that, because everybody knows how to defend those, and even when you get caught in it, we know how to escape them. It's kind of day one stuff. Youssef Zalal was super dry, it was super early. Josh Emmett was caught in an armbar, had to verbally tap because he didn't have an arm free to actually tap. It was kind of confusing at the time, but that's how good that armbar was. And Youssef Zalal, man, I'm telling you, he said that he's going to be a champion one day. I don't doubt that.
It's a very tough division, though, isn't it, Nick? I was kind of waxing a little bit off the back of it, what could come next for him. And there's a bottleneck at the top end of that division. We've got some top quality talent in the shape of Movzar and Lerone and Arnold Allen and Aljo's in there. And obviously you've got the old school guard of the Yair Rodriguez. He might have to do another couple before he gets a title shot.
Yeah, he might have to, but you know what? The form he's in right now, I wouldn't be complaining about that at all. because he had that 3-fight skid in the UFC. He's now gone 8-0. He's now gone 5 first-round finishes in that period as well. And when you're doing that to some of the caliber of Josh Emmett, no one's ever done that to Josh Emmett. Nobody has ever done that to him. Not that quick, not that decisive. The speed that he shot for that level change, for that takedown early on, was just absolutely rapid. And rather like Pereira in the main event, just utter, complete dominance. Poor Josh Emmett didn't get a single shot off. That was a statement. Zalal's here. He deserves someone in the top 10.
Yeah. Did anybody have Joe Pyfer by submission, Mr. Bisping? Great performance from him. Another statement victory.
I had Joe Pyfer by maybe decapitating him with a massive shot, but not a submission, and certainly not in that fashion. Obviously got taken down quite early after engaging in the wrestling. Magomed almost gets him in a head scissors and then a Kimura, but he escapes. He gets back to his feet, rattles off a couple of strikes, and then of course finishes him with a good old-fashioned face crank. Just squeezed the head off him almost, looking for a rear naked choke, but the pain and the technique was so good. Yeah, Abus Magomedov, who is not an easy man to beat, by the way, who is very skilled, who's got great striking and an excellent ground game. Yeah, big victory for him.
And surely next, Nick, a ranked opponent.
Yeah, you would have thought so. I know he's well liked by Dana White. He's well liked by the UFC. I think Pyfer, to be honest with you, has probably got one eye on that White House card. I'd be surprised if he's not on it. I think he sneaks on there. Absolutely a good American, isn't he? He gives a big shout out at the end of his fights and everything else. So I think he's destined for that card in June. But we should see him again before then, regardless. Because as Mike said, this was a huge win for him. Magomedov is a serious dude, and I think this is the best win of Pyfer's career, especially after losing the first round. Not panicking, coming out. Brilliant. When he got the chance, squeezed his head like a teenager popping the head off a zit. There you go. I'll have that. Lovely. Thanks very much. Any chance of a bonus? Statement. Very good.
Very good indeed. Listen, that was the main card. We nearly got a full house of finishes. Obviously, Mirab went the distance. Nearly got that finish in the second round, but everybody else, they were highlight reel moments galore. And they continued, or should I say, they were the prelude on the prelims to what we experienced on that main card. Boys, you pointed him out last week. Atiba Gauthier, Mike. Oh my days. The middleweight Ngannou is frightening. I didn't even see what he did in order to get that finish. It was a tiny little tap. It felt like a tiny little tap on the back of his head, and that was it. Night.
Yeah, well, Nick talked about teenagers popping zits. That was like someone just going, "What are you doing? Get off me." Just threw him off him and then cracked him in the face. You know, this guy, Tristan Vines, oh, God bless him. I feel for the dude. He gets his UFC notice on very short notice. Yes, he was training for another fight, but steps up at a week's notice against one of the scariest prospects that the UFC has on their hands right now. And he was clearly terrified. He was dancing around. He was trying to not engage. He shot for a takedown from half of the octagon away, got kneed in the face for it. Then he finally gets a clinch, pushes him up against the fence, and as I say, Ataba's just like, get off. What are you doing? Throws him down and then just starts wailing on him. Ataba Gauthier, this man, he's very scary. I met him last week at the Performance Institute. I went over and said hi, and I guess English isn't his first language, which just kind of added to the scariness. You know what I mean? It's just like he just looked at me like, what are you saying to me, boy? Big fan. It's only nice things, buddy. Don't worry. Yeah, man. I can't wait for his future. He's going to do big things.
It's been a sensational start in the UFC, Nick. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with him in 2026, because when you've got this finish rate, that brings excitement, doesn't it? I can only anticipate big fights for him.
Yeah, and listen, he's one of us, isn't he? He's a Manchester lad. He's living in Manchester. He's training out of Manchester. We are absolutely claiming him as one of ours. Absolutely.
There you go. All in all, a phenomenal night at UFC 320. A little bit of something extra special for you, because next time we'll all be together is ahead of UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. Before that, on October the 13th, we are going to be bringing you a special documentary that we all feature on, as does the current heavyweight champion of the world. That's right. It is Tom Aspinall, Road to Undisputed. That's going to be available for you on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus from October the 13th. Make sure you check it out. We will all be back together 4th fight week in Abu Dhabi at UFC 321 to see the heavyweight championship on the line. That's right. We haven't said that for a bit. Tom Aspinall will be defending against Cyril Gane. However, for now, Merab Dvalishvili emerges from UFC 320 with a 3rd successful defence of his bantamweight title as he dominates Corey Sandhagen over 5 rounds. And Portan, Alex Pereira, is back on top of the light heavyweight division to begin another reign as he stops Magomed Ankalaev in the very first round. We'll catch you next time.